questions that we're often asked is, what are the implications of an API change for an underlying line of business system? So in this segment, we're going to explore both the traditional application development approach and how that's been simplified using AgilePoint. So in a traditional application development paradigm, we have an application that is consuming version 1 of an API. Now at some point, version 2 is made available and we need to update our application so that it consumes the new API. Now, even in cases where a platform gives you a drag and drop design experience, what often needs to take place is we'll need to go into every single configuration window, be that a process, be that a form, and regenerate the underlying queries. Now, with most customers having hundreds of apps, each comprised of dozens of forms and business processes in their own right, this amounts to a pretty substantial undertaking. So let's then contrast that with the AgilePoint approach. So again, same scenario, our application is consuming version 1 of an API, and a second version has been made available. Now, because we're not copying scripts and queries and things of that nature, all that needs to be done from an AgilePoint perspective is to update the centralized reusable asset to consume the new version of the API. And we can skip updating each form or process to consume that new API. Take an example in the world of Salesforce. They release a new version of their API quite often, and we see our customers benefiting from this approach because it removes all of the overhead associated with adapting to the change in the API. In fact, we saw this very recently. PayPal had deprecated version 1 of its API, and all of the customers were supposed to move over to version 2. Now, rather than having to affect all of these changes in multiple places across multiple apps, it required only a single change to a centralized asset, and the entire update process takes mere seconds to complete.